My Dewalt planer needed a home. What's up, y'all? My name's Andy. This is Epeius Garage. In today's video, I'm going to show you the cabinet I built for my planer. I bought this planer a few months ago, Christmas time. It's been sitting on my floor this entire time. I've been using it on my floor, and I've just been kind of needing the time to design the cabinet. I wanted something simple. I didn't want it expensive. I also wanted it designed where the outfeed table was the same height as my newly upgraded workbench, so that way I can use it as an outfeed table for the planer. Another thing is this is kind of another series where I'm sprucing up my small workshop here, and I wanted this cabinet to have plenty of drawer space. This is actually the first time I've done drawers where I put in actual drawer runners. So that was interesting. Made a few mistakes along the way, but overall, it turned out really well, and I'm going to show it to y'all. If you like the video, please remember to hit that thumbs up, and if you want to see more, subscribe and ring that bell for notifications. Check it out.
First thing I got to do is break down these sheet goods. I'm going to tell y'all right now, I don't have a track saw and I don't have a big cabinet saw. What I've always done is I've used my 6 to 8 foot level as a straight edge. I measure where I need to go. I clamp it down, make sure it's square to the board. And from there, I'm able to put my saw up to it and cut a straight line. And I'll tell you right now, the lines are always really, really straight. Once I make these cuts, then I can take the smaller pieces and break them down on my table saw. Once I get the large sheet broke down enough to put on my table saw, from there I just line it out and I cut all my sides, my top, and my bottom. Alright, next step is laying out my pocket holes. Really easy to do. I just kind of split it up evenly where I had about 3 or 4, and then from there, once you get one set, you can set the next board on top of it and mark the next board without having to remeasure. Then once you get all marked out, I pulled out my cracked jig and I was able to start drilling my pocket holes. I know a lot of people are not fan of pocket holes and some people say stuff about them, but they have their use, and for this cabinet, it was perfect. It was quick, it was easy. I didn't have to mess with anything like dados or rabbits or anything like that. So I was really glad with this, and it turned out really sturdy and it'll last forever.
I'm going to take a little pause real quick just to show y'all kind of where I'm at. So I've cut my top and bottom pieces, I've cut my side pieces, I've cut my back piece, and then I put all the pocket holes in. This is where I screwed up. So just to let you know, I designed this where the back piece was going to cover all the seams, so the pocket holes shouldn't be hold on. I didn't screw up. I thought I screwed up. Okay, I didn't screw up. I thought I messed up, but I didn't. I'm good. I think so. So anyways, I'm getting ready to figure all this out, but I got a top piece, bottom piece, all the pocket holes are in there. Now I'm just going to use some glue it all up. I think I'm going to glue the sides, top and bottom first, and then I'll put the back on last because I can lay it on the ground, square it up, and run the pocket holes straight down on the ground. I think that's going to be my method. Sorry, lighting's not the best here. Anyways, for this 3/4 inch material, I need to use 1.5 inch and a quarter pocket holes. I've got a whole little thing of them here. I'm going to go ahead and put some glue right on the seam. And my silicone brush, kind of leave it in water so it doesn't drop on me. Beat the devil out of it. That's what Bob Ross used to always say. And then I'm just going to kind of spread this glue out right there. Set this up here. reposition my corner, my bobbers, or whatever you want to call these things. Holding it in place. They seem to work all right. Make sure everything's straight. And just so you know, if you're not familiar with pocket holes, they require one of these Robertson square heads. So you'll definitely want to get one of those. Usually though, the Craig jig will come with one, but I'm not using it. Man, this thing, it's already pretty strong. I know pocket holes get a bad rap, but in applications like this, I like them.
Once I got part of it put together, set it on the ground, kind of line up the back piece.
So I'm going to have a little 1/8 lip on the bottom. I don't care. I could shave it off, you know, take time to shave it off. I don't care because it's going to be on the bottom and it's going to have rollers down there and nobody's ever going to see it. I'm not going to waste the time. This is why it's always good. You know, I pre-cut all my pieces. Sometimes it's best just to pre-cut the first ones you put together and then take measurements after that. Like drawers and stuff especially. I haven't made my drawers yet because I'm waiting till this is done. But in this instance, I was an 1/8 off on my math. Not a big deal.
Got it all together and it turned out really well. I was happy with it. And again, back to breaking down big sheet material. Y'all, same method, straight edge, circular saw. It's really very, very simple and it works very well. Tell me in the comments if you'd like to see a detailed video on how I do it. But otherwise, here it is. And this was all for my drawers. I used 3/4 or 1/2 inch. Hell, I can't even remember. But I used smaller, thinner material for my drawers. Now, for my drawers, I did make a set of rabbets for the fronts and back. And what I did here is I took my stack, I piled them up, and I got it as close as I could to the thickness of my material. So that way I knew how thick my rabbets would be, or the width of my rabbet. And then from there I just slapped them onto my table saw and went ahead and made my cuts. I am using my new Freud dado stack. A while back I did a video comparing it to the Harbor Freight dado stack, and I'll be honest with you right now, I'm so far not very impressed with the Freud, which is surprising because I like Freud 10-inch saw blades. So we'll see. I'm going to keep using it. I'll give y'all an update.
Alright, got all my pieces fit. Did a dry fit up. I wanted to make sure that everything fits nice, measurements come out correct, make sure everything's square. I used my strap clamp to strap it all up. You can see there the rabbets on the bottom. That'll be for the bottom piece. I always cut the bottom piece last because I want to make sure that it fits just perfect. You never know if you're slightly off and then you may have to trim it down. So I always cut the bottom pieces last once I get my boxes made. So next step, I'm going to glue these up, put a couple brad nails in it. We'll be good to go to make the bottoms.
Well, see if you can notice the mistake I made. I just laid my pieces out, used my silicone brush, spread out the glue, put it together using my strap clamp, and from there I noticed my mistake.
Notice the mistake? I put glue on the bottom rabbet. If you're making your bottom piece last, don't put glue on the bottom rabbet. It makes no sense. It can be dry. So I got to remove that.
After fixing my little mistake, I grabbed my little brad nailer and put some brad nails all around it. This is not, you know, for structural, it just holds together all the glue. I do this a lot. It really makes the process a lot quicker.
Alright, I want to figure out my bottom piece for my smaller drawer. So I'm just going to simply measure. So each side is about 13.5, 13.5. I'm just going to say 13 and 7/16. Cool part about this tape measure, you can write down cool little notes. and erase them. I always link this in my description. I always link this in the description if you want to buy one. And 9.5 by 9.5. And I'll write that on here. 9.5. Oops. 9.5 by. So 13 7/16 by 9.5. That's what I'm going to go for this one. I'll go ahead and double check all of them, make sure they're all the same. Got my bottoms cut. I'm going to tell you, there's nothing more satisfying than when you cut your bottom pieces and they fit snug and perfectly in their place. And all of them turned out really well. I do want to tell you about one though. One is a little special, you might have noticed. 2 pieces. I did not do this because I ran out of wood. I have plenty of wood, got a big old sheet left. I personally just hate waste, and I hate little scraps left over. So anytime I can utilize scraps, I do. Just me. You, by all means, you can make them like the rest, but I had these couple pieces that were going to fit well. This thing ain't holding water, so I really don't care. Glue it all the way around, put a few brad nails, it'll be just fine. And I don't have any more scrap piling up in that horrendous pile of mine. Something to think about.
To complete my box bottoms, I simply put some wood glue in there, spread it around my silicone brush, and added some brad nails. And that was it. I mean, really simple. And like you saw, they've all fit perfect. I was really happy. All right, as you notice, large jump here. I went from making the drawers to now I have one installed. Reason for this is I am not an expert in installing drawer slides. This was actually my first time, so I didn't want to show you any bad habits or anything like that. I was still kind of figuring it out. But as you can see, I used a shim, I guess you could say, for my distance. And from here, I was able just to go from drawer runner to drawer runner and have them all work out. Overall, they worked out great. I did make one mistake, is when I applied the first runners on the bottom, I didn't put a level to them. So as I'm using my shim all the way up, they were all slightly off level. Not a lot, I just had to adjust them a little bit, but it's something to think about if it's your first time putting in drawer runners. I need a lot more practice, not something I do every day, but it turned out really well overall. I was happy with my first time doing this. For the drawer faces, really simple. I basically just cut a piece out, same size as my cabinet. And then from there, I just cut each drawer piece out as needed. I just measured each one. Really easy, nothing to it. And then to attach my drawer faces, I don't think I used any glue. I just pretty much just screwed them into place. I put 2 screws on each one, and that was it. The big drawer I did use 4 screws, but other than that, really simple.
As I showed you, instead of buying some fancy little drawer pulls, I've got scrap wood, and I just cut it in the strip I want. I think I did like 2 inches, somewhere around there, and then put a 45-degree bevel. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put some glue. I've got my combination square preset to the distance I want from the top, which in this case 2 inches. They'll all look the same. I already know to make this center I need 3 3/4. Make sure I'm good this way, and that's it. I'm gonna let that dry. Should be good enough. I might put a screw in the back of it later. I don't know. See how I feel. Obviously, bevel goes down. My first one is to make this center, but I think it would look better if they're all uniform from the top and then have large space here. That's just my opinion, but hey, you make your cabinet how you like it.
I bought these casters before and they come with some bolts, but as you can see here, they weren't long enough for what I needed. So my solution is, instead of buying new bolts and washers and all that, utilize what I have, take out my palm router, and go ahead and just cut out the area and lower them. So that way I can utilize the bolts that it came with and the washers. This worked out really well. Didn't take too long. No big deal. I love this palm router. It's really helped out a lot in many situations. In this case, it was great. Once I got those areas cleaned up, I marked my holes, drilled my holes, and I applied the casters. The bolts, I did put some thread lock on them to ensure, vibration over time, they don't come loose. And then from there, I just tool tightened with a wrench, and that was really it. Very easy.
Alright, so I'm pretty happy right now. My strong suit has never been math, and when I designed this cabinet, I wanted it to where the feed table could line right up with my new tabletop for an outfeed table for longer boards. And I made the plans, I did the math, I made my cuts, put it all together, crossed my fingers, added the casters, and check this out. It does not get any better than that. That is like, it's a 30-second right above it, so it's perfect, so it's not going to hit, it'll go over it and touch. I can't believe it, actually, to be honest with you. But hey, these are those, what did Bob Ross say? Well, this really wasn't an accident. I actually planned for this. Anyways, onward ho. Well, hopefully this gives you some ideas for maybe if you're planning on something similar. I don't have any plans. I hand drew all this out on, paper, graph paper. But I'm really happy with the drawer space that I got out of this. I'm really, really excited with how the outfeed table lined up in my workbench. That was always a nice surprise. I still got a couple things I need to do. I need to bolt down the planer. I've got to go get some bolts and figure out what orientation. I don't know whether I want the drawers on this side or that side. Still figuring that little stuff out. But other than that, it's complete. I've already started putting stuff in the drawers. It's already cleared up my other workbench like tremendously. So I'm really happy with it. I think I might end up putting some racks on the side for my clamps. I think that would help me a lot, and that would clear up a whole nother massive shelf over there that I put stuff on. So yeah, that's probably what I'll do. Anyways, hope y'all enjoyed the video. I'll see you next time.